You call that radio? You call that radio TV? Below. You call that radio TV?
This is You Call That Radio.
This is You Call That Radio. Live from Firhill. A wee bonus episode for you. I know we didn't actually tell you this was going to happen because I'm an idiot, but it's happening, and it's an absolute honour to welcome on Ian Mack.
Hey,
in the house.
how you doing, man? You alright?
I'm good, and I'm glad to talk about this.
Hey.
Tell us about it.
Well, I mean, I kind of, it's not something I ever really wanted to do. The thought of doing a football song kind of terrified me. And it's always it's the two biggest things in my life are football and Thistle.
Let's talk about football songs first of all.
Yeah.
Is there any football songs that inspired it? Is there a right kind of football song and a wrong kind of football song?
I think there is. I think the right kind of football song is the type of football song that mentions football as least amount as possible. So I mean, like Sunshine on Leith, obviously I'm not sure if that was written as a football song, but it kind of became a football song. And it doesn't mention Hibs or football at all. So I mean, yeah, that's the kind of way to do it right. And with this one, this actually doesn't mention football or Partick Thistle. It mentions Firhill. So but yeah, I mean, it's not something I ever saw myself doing, but lockdown's done crazy things to all of us, man, as you know. So it was something to pass the time. I actually came up with a chorus before lockdown. You know what it's like with songs; they just kind of come to you. And I had the chorus, and then I didn't do anything with it. And I guess the chorus was originally inspired by mates of mine that have moved away, like pals that I've got that I used to go to games with who have kind of all moved away. So I've got mates in Malaysia, Australia. I've got a mate in Seville in Spain. I guess it was kind of originally about them, but then obviously once lockdown comes along, we're all in that boat where we're missing the place, and missing the whole thing. So that was kind of how it came about. But then once lockdown came, I guess all the time that you had on your hands, remember those early lockdown weeks when we were just all in the house? So I guess I just kind of worked on it, and I'd kind of set up a wee home studio in this room anyway, just for something to do. And then, so I ended up kind of finishing it. Well, nearly finishing it. I didn't have a second verse, and that's when I got my mate Neil involved. And he wrote a second verse, and then originally I sang that second verse, but then I thought, no, let's get him to sing it. So that kind of brief period during the summer when you allowed people in your house, he came up here and he done it in this very room actually, and did it in about 10 minutes, and then we went down to the pub. So it was an afternoon well spent, I think.
Well, we've got Mark Webster saying love it, but then I'm a jag.
Good man. How you doing, Mark?
We actually had someone on the we had a conversation the other night about GameStop, Reddit and Bitcoin, and there was Partick Thistle fans on the audience that time saying there's only one team in Glasgow. Partick Thistle is a very loved team. It's quite interesting how, there's so much rivalry between Celtic and Rangers, but yeah, everyone just kind of has a little bit more of a soft spot for Partick.
Because we're usually shite. We're usually not a danger to them. Do you know what I mean? That's what I mean. This is what everyone always says to you. Oh, I've got a soft spot for Thistle. Because we're usually pish and we don't give you any problems. I'd much rather be great and everyone hate us, to be quite honest. But no, listen, over the years we've had a few quite tasty rivalries which you'd only really know about if you supported one of the teams. So we're like kind of before my time, but when we had quite a tasty rivalry with Kilmarnock actually. Which was apparently really kind of, you really had to watch yourself when you were going to these games. But more in my lifetime, our main rivals have been Airdrie and Clyde. But again, those two teams are now have been, well, ironically now we're back in the same division as them, but for years we were like in the Premier League or First Division, and those two teams were like languishing in the bottom tier, almost going out of business. And they don't. I mean, Clyde and Airdrie fans, if any of them are watching, will probably refute this, but they don't. Neither of those teams really have much of a fan base anymore, so the rivalry's kind of dwindled away to nothing really. But and then even though we're back in the same league this season, there's no fans at the game, so and the season's been so stop start, so that nothing's really been able to develop. So I mean, it's yeah, we're everyone's second favourite team because we never usually give their first team any problems. Do you know what I mean? Which so I mean, yeah, Jags fans, it maybe kind of sticks in their craw a bit, and the worst one is the taxi drivers, man. Like taxi drivers, oh, I've always had a soft spot for Thistle, and you're like, oh, here we go, man. And
here we go.
I know. So, but yeah, so I mean, it's you know, I speak for all Thistle fans when I'd much rather we be hated because we always beat everyone rather than be loved because we never beat anyone. Do you know what I mean?
So tell us about, is this a one-off or is this the start of a new project?
No, I think it's a one-off, man. I think it's a one-off. I mean, I'm not a kind of I'm not like a tailor-made songwriter, so I can't just start writing about stuff well, like off the cuff. That's probably why I've never made any money out the music game. Do you know what I mean? I just kind of write about what I feel about at that particular moment. I can't see myself writing loads and loads of Thistle songs because I think, you know, apart from anything else, people would get sick of it. Do you know what I mean? People would just be sick of me after maybe 2 or 3. I mean, look, never say never, but I think it's just
maybe an EP after a couple of years.
Well, do you know, another part of inspiration was a guy called Neil Sturgeon, who I need to name check here because he did an EP in the 90s called the Badger EP, and it was all Thistle songs. I guess the problem with them was that they were very, very topical of that time. So they were talking about like players that we had at that time and commentators and opposition players that we had that we played against at that time. So it was very much of its time, but they were really funny lyrics, like really quite they had a lot of comedic value to them. So yeah, and when the club was going through Save the Jags in the late 90s, the club put his songs plus basically every other Thistle song that in existence. They put them all into a CD, which was released to basically make some money for the club when we were just about to go out of business or nearly going out of business. And so I've got that CD. So I know all Neil Sturgeon's songs off the bat, and I think he just recorded them all on a 4-track, like an old tape 4-track as it would have been back then. But they're really, really great. But that was the problem with his songs. The only problem with his songs were that they were very much of their time. So I'm hoping that this one's maybe a song for the ages, you know.
You said that you don't make money off your music and all that, but you did just recently pen well, you didn't write it for the advert, but your song got used in an advert.
Okay, right. So we did get some money for that, right? But
that's good though. Tenant's Lager.
I know. I mean, so it was. I mean, look, it wasn't life-changing money, but you know, it was just nice to get paid for your music. Do you know what I mean? It was a real moment for me, man. Just getting told that they were going to give us money, like for the use of it. Because I mean, look, there would have been. See if we'd said, "Oh, we want some money," they could have easily just went, "Well, do you know what? There's 1,000 bands who will give us their song for free, so go." But no, but they didn't. Like they were really, really great. And we were up against hundreds of other songs who had came from, you know, publishers and sync agents and all that. And a lot of people will tell you that you need all that to get anything like this, but we don't have any of that. When it's the right song, it's the right song. And
it's quite an interesting advert as well. It's kind of like, it's kind of creepy, dystopian, but also quite a nice love story, that advert.
Yeah.
We'll talk about the advert in a minute, actually. What we're going to do is, we're going to play the song, because I've got the View from the Terrace version. Is that the version that is the best version to play?
Well, there's that, and there's an actual music video for it as well, but either or is fine, man.
What do you think? What would you prefer?
Play the music video.
Yeah, okay, amazing. Okay, we'll play that. This is the music video. And also, for anyone who's watching us on Facebook, Twitch or Twitter, get the bus to YouTube to watch the rest of the show, because that's where we're going to be after the song. So get the bus to YouTube, and this is the Lambie McParlands Return to Firhill Road.
Just like an albatross, we ran from George's Cross. We never failed to answer when we were called. And even when we lost and had to count the cost, we still sang loud. But I'll return to Firhill Road till the last day I am breathing. The place I'll always call my home, even when the rain is falling.
We'll be back there soon on a Saturday afternoon. I never knew how much I loved you till you were gone. And when that whistle blows, and in the sun, the rain, the snow will do you proud.
But I'll return to Firhill Road till the last day I am breathing. The place I'll always call my home, even when the rain is falling. 1,000 misty eyes appear at once surprised as we look behind and see the ghost of Lambie. But I'll return to Firhill Road till the last day I am breathing. The place I'll always call my home, even when the rain is falling. I'll return to Firhill Road till the last day I am breathing. The place I'll always call my home, even when the rain is falling. Even when the rain is falling.
Brothers and sisters, may the peace that can only come from the one God be upon you. We are here to tell the people that we hear you. One God will not allow us as people of conscience to lose our morale.
Powered by our patrons. We are live with Ian Mack of Medicine Men and Lambie McParlands fame. If you want to watch the rest of the show, then get the bus to YouTube. Click the link that's in the comments just now. If you're already on YouTube, then you're fine. But if you're on Facebook, you need to click that link. So buy Facebook, buy Twitch, buy Twitter, and we can go back live to Ian just now. Ian, A great tune, man. I really like it, and I think it's that right level of it's not too cheesy, but it's emotional, and it needs to have a bit of cheese there for it to be a football song.
Yeah.
But it's really well done, man. It's I can imagine it being an emotional listen for a Partick Thistle fan.
Well, yeah, you're correct in what you say, in the sense that, I mean, it's a precarious tightrope that you're walking here between over a river of cheese, as you said, and that was very much in my mind when I was doing it, because I mean, this, after we recorded this sat for 6 months, and at one point I decided I wasn't doing anything with it, just because of the potential for it to go wrong. And the thing is, you can never really evaluate your own stuff properly. You'll either be too critical or too into it. Do you know what I mean? So I did let a select few fans hear it, like kind of mates of mine, to get their opinion. And luckily, all the feedback that came back was very, very positive, because I was so conscious of, if one move the wrong way here, and you could, and you know what the internet's like, man, you could get destroyed. So yeah, it was a precarious line I felt I was walking throughout.
You walked that line, man. You walked over that line amazing, because it's I can see it. What about, I seen someone comment the other day that this song needs to be performed live when fans are allowed back into the ground. Would you be up for that?
Well, they'd need to get a right fucking much better PA in Firhill before we did that, I can tell you, because
it's like, not just Firhill, it's just every football stadium, man. I've been to some big stadiums.
Firhill's particularly bad. I mean, if you think you've had top end in the ear, you've not been to Firhill, especially like in the Jackie Husband concourse. It's just the two wee horns, and see when you walk past them and something's happening, it is like, it is like the most ear-splitting thing you've ever heard. So yeah, I mean, I don't think it would really work. You'd want to do it justice, and you'd want everyone to be able to hear you. And unfortunately, like, I'm not. I feel like I'm sure digging up the club now, but these PAs.
You're raising money for the Partick Thistle Charitable Trust.
Yeah,
maybe they could use that money for a new PA. What does the Partick Thistle Charitable Trust, what does that money go to? Is it anything in particular, or is it
I think
various projects?
I think it goes to things a lot more important than the stadium PA for a start. But not, so they do great stuff, man. So before lockdown, they were doing stuff like community programs. So they had a general kind of fitness program called FFit, which stands for Football Fans in Training. And that was just a couple of times a week, fans who were maybe a bit overweight, like maybe just wanted to get a bit healthier and fitter, they would meet up once a week and train. And, they'd get help with kind of diet and stuff as well, like if they wanted it. They also did stuff so they had a program for frame football, they had a program for just general disabled football, and they had a program for refugee football as well. So that was all great stuff they were doing. But then obviously when COVID hit, they couldn't do any of that for the time being. So they basically just turned 180 degrees, and they started using the kitchen in the stadium, which was used for like hospitality and all that. They started using that to prepare meals, and basically they would go out and they would deliver these meals to vulnerable people who were maybe shielding, and they'd go out and deliver them to the community. So I think so far they've delivered something like over 25,000 meals since the start of lockdown, which is amazing. And so they did a wee video of all that. And once I saw that, I was like, bingo, now we've got a reason to release the song. Because we didn't want to release it for just no reason at all. Just to massage our own egos, which, it's as good a reason as any sometimes, you know what I mean? But there had to be a reason to do it. And,
absolutely, you had one. You had one in your back pocket ready for the right reason, and also it's all about timing. And as far as for anyone who's wanting to support the song, then timing is everything as well. Today's Bandcamp Friday.
It is, man. Yeah.
That means that all the money goes to charity. Bandcamp usually takes a little cut. So I've put the link in the comments. It's the Lambie McParlands.bandcamp.com, and all the money will go to the charity. Bandcamp waives its fee for today. It's been a handy thing that they've done since lockdown began, isn't it, Bandcamp? And I think it's also been good for their business model as well. It's maybe made people think twice about Spotify, and maybe because I think some people, I think it's made it more apparent to the normal average music fan that listening to your favourite band on Spotify is great, but it's much better if you actually go to down the Bandcamp route, or go down the Bandcamp route, support the band, and then you can listen on Spotify guilt free. Yeah,
well, the thing is, we've not actually put this song on streaming platforms yet, and we've had a few people ask us, like, why not? Which is a fair enough question, like, but basically, we're trying to raise money for charity here. So if we just put that song out on streaming platforms, it would have probably been pennies, not even pounds that we're talking about, right? And not only that, but the money would have took about 6 months to come through. So, so Bandcamp was the best option. The thing about Bandcamp as well is that it gives you the option to pay more if you want. So we've had people paying 20, 50, a few people have actually paid 100 quid for a download. Can you believe that?
Amazing.
So I mean that's been so good, because I mean I think the average donation has been about £8, which is incredible. But we also wanted to make it affordable for everyone, for a couple of reasons. First of all, we know how tough it is for everyone at the moment, and that shouldn't preclude you from getting the song and helping out. Plus, 99p, probably goes a long way to providing a meal for someone, with what the trust have been doing. Obviously, I don't have specific details of what each meal costs, but 99p probably goes a long way to providing a meal for someone. So yeah, even if you can only afford 99p, and obviously as well, you're not giving anyone anything tangible here. You're giving them a digital file, so you can't ask too much for that.
Absolutely, and I think that I think it was Radiohead made it famous. I think other people were doing before the pay what you like thing, but when Bandcamp brought that out, we were right on it as soon as Bandcamp were sort of about, and it really helped us in the early years of my band, because
totally.
Especially when someone buys a digital download and pays a bit extra, because you don't actually have to do anything. Obviously, if it's a CD or a vinyl, you've still got to, you've got to ship it out and stuff like that, and there's some effort involved. But to all the people who chose to pay more, it's a nice feeling, because it's like that person has chosen to go above and beyond. So it's an amazing feeling. Big ups to anyone who does do that. And yeah, man, I think what I'm going to do just now is play a little tune from the Medicine Men Capture Works gig just now.
Oh, cool.
Because I think people might be quite aware, or if not. By the way, Mark MacKinnon says it's a cracking wee tune. He got his feet tapping.
Oh, cheers.
So let's go back, rewind back to, it was Halloween. Was it Halloween? It was Halloween.
It was Halloween, yeah.
And yeah, man, Medicine Men absolutely smashed it. What was that experience like for you?
Mate, it was amazing. It felt like Prohibition or something. Do you know what I mean? It felt like we were getting to do something that, we felt it was a real privilege, man, because so many bands would have been wanting to do what we did that night during this time. And I mean, as you know, like the crew down there are just incredible. Like the lighting guys, the sound guys, the guy who was coordinating the whole thing. What do you call him? The floor manager or whatever.
Mackie, I think you're talking about.
And the guy who was in your ear, like calling all the timings and all that. It was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. So it was a brilliant night, man.
It's a professional setup indeed, and the good news is that I think at 7 o'clock we've got a big announcement to make about another Capture Works gig. You call that
good stuff, man.
Live from Capture Works. We have penciled in. It's more than penciled in. I can confirm it's confirmed.
Oh, brilliant!
We have got a flyer that we will be announcing at 7 o'clock tonight during the Sunny Govan fundraiser that we're doing later on tonight, and it will in about an hour, 5:30. We have got so much good stuff coming up. We've got Colin Mustard, Loki, Respect BA, Dope Sick Fly. I'm not going to read all the names. Lots of amazing acts on
Brilliant.
tonight, so you can join us from 5:30 for
Are
that.
you doing a reset? I see.
Yes. Well, do you know what, man? It's been a crazy week for me, and I've taken on a little bit more than I can actually handle. So what?
I can't believe that. That's not like you, is it?
So, and also the problem is as well, in order to record the set, I mean, I've got the rule after my birthday where my phone was in the shop getting fixed, and I just did a show for 12 hours and I was wasted at 4:30 in the morning. Well, I don't know. It was maybe 3:30 in the morning. The show was still going live and I was just screaming my head off because I didn't, it was my birthday. And I was excited because everyone had surprised me with a wee crowdfunder, and I was just having I was living my best life. And then the next day, when I got my phone out, I had all the messages from the neighbours saying, shut the fuck up, because they weren't working the next day. So I've kind of like put in a little, after 10, unless it's a special occasion like Mary Kiani, live from Australia.
Yeah.
We made an exception for that. But in general, I can't record really after time, and I'm always busy during the day. So I haven't had time to make a new set, unfortunately. But what I'm going to do is the Jackal Trade set from Capture Works that I did, that has never been seen before.
Yeah.
Because I kind of came in at the last minute. Someone was a no-show, so I kind of just went in at the last minute, and I hadn't performed any of those songs for a year. So it's a bit rough around the edges, to put it mildly. But fuck it, it's for Sonny Govan, so I'm sure people will can have a good laugh. Some of it's okay.
Good,
it's not all shite, but just it could have been better. You know what? I'm not talking about I'm never going to be the guy that practices to perfection.
That sounds like the best music review ever. Headline:
Yeah.
It's not all shite.
It's not all shite. It's not all shite. That just sums up my career.
That's you, mate. That is your next album.
Yeah,
Name.
it's not all
Jackal
shite.
Trades. It's not all shite.
Well,
mate, that is so you. It's the most Mark McGee thing I've ever heard.
So the rule is though, every album I've ever released has always got 3 words, so it would need to just be not all shite. We can't have the word "it's" in it, or because it would.
But that works as well, doesn't it?
Not all shite, and alls in capitals, not all shite. We've got the legendary John McKinley tuned in late again. Hello Mark, hello Ian, hello John.
All right, Scats, how you doing?
You're just in time for a little trip back to Halloween, where Medicine Men joined You Call That Radio on at Capture Works stage. And if anyone's not seen the Capture Works show before, this will give you a good wee idea of what to expect from our announcement tonight at 7 o'clock.
More like a TV show. On almost every night. It's gonna be streaming live. Sinking without a trace, watching as the waves go by, saving your special face for the keepers of your private eye. You try to run your race and blend it with the passers-by, but used up all your grace. You love it, but you have to try. Consequence has no face until it looks you in the eye. You miss the warm embrace when revolution was the cry. You try to save your name when all the others have arrived. Will you give up the game? But what is left if you survive?
Amazing stuff. Medicine Men, Getaway Driver. And we're back. Ian, can you hear me okay? You're muted, I think. Yeah, we're back. Aaron Scotland says, loving it. Thanks for sharing, Mark. Thank you, Aaron Scotland, for tuning in. It's and we will have an announcement about Capture Works. We're building a hang, and we're building a spring on March the 27th, and we'll tell you about that. It's 7 o'clock tonight. The fundraiser starts at 5:30 though, so tune in. I'll put a link in the comments for it. I want to ask you about Medicine Men. Have we got any new material, or are you just waiting till what's happening?
So I tell you what's happening, man. There is a full remix album coming out, and it'll probably come out on the anniversary of the original album coming out. Brilliant. Which was mid-May. So it started off like me asking like a couple of people if they wanted to do a remix for us, and we've ended up having every single track on the album remixed. And so a lot of people, man. So Yoko Ono have done one.
Oh yes.
Yeah, which is they've done their one's amazing. Domiciles have done one. We've got Dear Leader have done one. Beta Waves have done one. And yeah, loads, so many folk, man. And actually, one of the guys from Biss has done one. I don't think it's going to be like a Biss remix. I think it's just going to be come out under his production name. But he's done incredible. Also, we've still to get one back from. Have you ever heard of Acid Ultras?
Yes, I have.
They'd be a great booking for Capture Works, by the way. Acid Ultras, which is young Nick from the Cools. So it's his kind of acid house thing. Mate, you would love them. So they're doing one, and so I've not got theirs back yet, but I know they're going to smash it. But yeah, so I'm buzzing about it, man, because it's like I can, that way when you need to go and talk up your own music. I've never been comfortable doing it. Do you know what I mean? I hate doing it. But see, because this is other people doing my music, absolutely. I feel like I can talk it up to the cows come home. And I genuinely mean it when I say, like, when I realised we were going to have so many, I was like, well, there's going to be a couple that I really don't like here. But I've got to say, every single remix that's come back, I absolutely love it. Like,
the remix album, I totally agree with that as well, because when you're in charge of a song, writing it, really producing it, getting it mastered, you're listening to every step of the way. So when you release it, it's your judgment that's on the line.
Yeah.
So you can't really. It's not that you can't. It's just that I think it's unfair to say if something's really good or not, because you don't really know, because you're so lost in that process. But when you hear someone just take a remix and just make their own thing of it, it's amazing, man. We've been lucky to have that with Jackal Trades. We had the Beside Your Face remix album. I'm actually since it's Bandcamp Friday, I'll give a wee plug to that.
Yeah, man.
JackalTrades.bandcamp.com. It's £10.80, I think it is, and that's the first two Jackal Trades album, all the singles and the remix album. Unfortunately, we didn't get Trip Hazard Advisor remix because Tom, who mastered it, he moved studios. So, and in the confusion of it all, the stems do exist. Yeah. But that way where the original beats that I got from producers were called random things.
Yeah.
So it's just a process that I can't be bothered doing.
Well, that's it. Same happened with us. Like it took us ages to get stems because Gordon McNeil, who did our album, and listen, ultimately it's our fault because we should have asked for the stems at the time. But he moved studio, and then basically also he bought a new machine and the Pro Tools files wouldn't open on his machine for some reason. So I had to get the Pro Tools files and then I had to get someone else to basically open them up and do all the stems. So that's why that's one of the reasons why this is taking so long. But I think it's quite good that it's going to come out on the anniversary of the first of the album coming out. Do you know?
It's perfect.
And instead of doing what a major label would do, which is basically repackage the whole thing and maybe add a new track, it's like no. This is not a repackaged job. This is a remix album of every track. So I think that's quite cool as well.
What is great, I like about remix album also is that Jackal Trades is really quite niche in a very niche genre, so it doesn't make much of a difference. But even when Gyro Babies or Jackal Trades gets a remix done, what's always exciting about it is that it gives the opportunity for DJs and other people who maybe respect the hustle of what I do, but they don't particularly enjoy the music, or they can't really help it. But it's been an amazing feeling hearing, you know, your songs being remixed. I've heard it and I played in a venue or a club,
Oh, totally.
or maybe just on a DJ set that someone's doing online because it suddenly fits into their genre of music. So it's great, and I also just loved, you know, when we did with Late Night Sketchy, we got 28 different people to remix Late Night Sketchy.
Fucking brilliant, man.
And obviously, you will go a bit mad if you listen to that from start to finish. But the whole, it's just, I listened to them. Well, I listened to a few of them a couple of weeks ago, and it's like, oh my, it's just showing you what you give everyone the exact same files, and then you see, right, what does their brain do with it, and you've just got, and you can just see everyone stamping their own personality on it, man. So I'm a big fan of the remixes. John McKinnon says Beta Waves are different classmate. Mark, 2 chats with Bonnie Dundee. Check them out. Do you know, I have heard a little bit and I really enjoyed it, so I will check them out properly.
Yeah, they're great lads, man. Like their first gig was actually supporting Medicine Men in Dundee, about maybe 3 years ago now, and that was their first gig, and it was quite messy, but I saw enough that night to really say, right, listen, this could really go somewhere. So I've kind of we've done some stuff with them, and now like I mean they're essentially producing themselves now because they're both so good with all that kind of stuff. So to see them just keep going on and on and on, and the thing is, lockdown's not affected them as much as affected other artists, is because Dale's been living in London for a long time anyway. So they've been doing the old Dropbox thing for years. So they've just basically carried on doing that, and they've both got decent setups in their flats. So yeah, I mean they're stacking up like so many tracks. So yeah, I mean I really hope that there's big things ahead for them.
Absolutely. I mean, Medicine Men are one of those bands on the scene that are kind of indie rock and roll, but you can definitely hear the dance music influence. I've obviously I heard some of the beats that you've made as well. Dance music's a big thing. Let's talk about Daft Punk retiring. Have you got anything to say about that?
Mate, I'm fucking gutted. Gutted. Because the only time they've really toured since I've been old enough to go to gigs was when they did Rock Nest in 2007, and I just wasn't. I was kind of indie rock and roll type kid, and then I kind of got even further into that. I was a total mod for like from the age of about 17 to about maybe 25, and so even though I was into dance music, I wasn't as into it as I am now. And that Rock Nest gig was just supposed to be the fucking greatest thing that anyone who was there has ever seen. So yeah, I was hoping they'd come back and do like a hydro show or something, because yeah, I mean that Alive tour that they did, just I mean when you see footage of it, man, and like it's that's the thing what you're saying about us having the dance music influence. That's something which I've always wanted to have, but it was so hard to get it going in a band setting. And it's taken this long.
Mickey Nines are a good example. I mean, their story is they were very indie rock and roll, and then they seen that Daft Punk legendary Rock Nest one. And the reason that one, I really gutted about it missing it, is because I was going to all the Rock Nests. It's just that one that I think I was just a bit too skint, or I was working or something. I couldn't make it work. I think I was going to Teen the Park, and I was just like, I can't do both or something.
Yeah, that was like a month before Teen the Park, wasn't it? Rock Nest.
Aye, something like that. And all my mates went, and one sadly passed away now. But it was like everyone that went had this amazing moment, and everyone always talks about it. Absolutely gutted I missed it. Also, if you check out Get Lucky, it's the sound of the summer. We've got. John McKinley says sketchy remixes were great. My favourite was the Wise Goldfish name drop. That is a bit of a name drop.
The name drop.
You call that radio?
Yes, the Wise Goldfish, absolute legend. He's been name dropped. It was name dropped in last night's show with the amazing We Should Hang Out More boys who were on the show.
Oh yeah, they're great, man. They're great. Yeah. What's the song they done? University Avenue. What a tune that is, man.
they're incredible, and it just I mean I think that's one of the parties that I'll miss most. I've missed most because I think that's the one that I'd like to go back to. When
I've never been. I think I've met. Is one of the boys Irish?
Yes, that's Marky.
Right, I think I might have met
Marky and Odge.
I think I might have met the Irish boy, but no, I can't remember how I heard. Maybe it was you that shared that University Avenue tune and I listened to it, and I know it's a remix of that RL. It's a kind of re-edit of that kind of RL Burnside tune they've sampled quite heavily, but it's brilliant, man. It's so good. Heavy Alabama 3 vibes.
Well, we're working on a wee collab just now.
Oh, brilliant!
It's sounding good, so hopefully I'll get that finished soon as well. John Rush, shout outs to John Rush as well, loving the new tune.
Oh, John boy, how you doing?
And who did an incredible set last week at the Immersive TV.
Yeah, I watched it, man.
Great interview as well. If you want to check out, John Rush was on the show last week as well, or who knows if it was last week, 2 weeks ago. I'm losing track of time. Also, it was obviously we're another thing because obviously I want to ask you about is Ian Brown has refused to play. Is pulled out of festivals that are saying that you need to be vaccinated to go in. What do you make of Ian Brown doing that?
Man, just fucking shut up, mate. Do you know what I mean? Like, the thing is, the thing that gets me about it is that there will genuinely be people who will base their belief about this whole thing on what he says. And
well, I think so because
that's what worries me most.
The thing is that I'm a massive Ian Brown fan, and I know his solo material gets unfair criticism. I think he's.
Mate, that Golden Great. What Golden Greats is incredible, man. And as is music of the Spheres, fucking
music
great.
Of the Spheres and Unfinished Monkey Business is a bit raw, but there's something just fresh about it.
Yeah.
And in every album he brings out, he's always got at least one or two absolute classics on it.
Stellify, what a tune, man.
Stellify, Fear. I mean, just the Keep What You Got with Noel Gallagher as well. And also. In general, his politics have usually been spot on.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, he's always been anti-war. He's always been. He's had his finger on the pulse, and so I think maybe what's happened is that he's just got to stand his ground now. I don't think he'll ever admit that he's maybe shared any disinfo. I think he's just got to dig his heels in now.
Yeah, totally. And that is modern society in a nutshell, isn't it? Is that no one is prepared to admit that they're wrong. So what they do is they just double down, because the prospect of admitting they've been duped by somebody like Trump or somebody like Boris Johnson it's actually worse for them than just doubling down and carrying on. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's no one is prepared to admit they're wrong anymore. Do you know what I mean? And Ian Brown, I think, unfortunately falls into that category. I mean, what is like? I don't get it. Like, I don't get it. I mean, it's like all this, and like I saw someone who was like backing him up on a thread, saying, well, if you want to inject yourself with baby fetus, then you do that, but I'm not doing it. And it's like, mate, they took 4 cells from a baby fetus, 4 cells, and then that was replicated like again and again and again. Yeah,
in the 70s.
And do you know how many millions of lives have been saved by those 4 baby cells? And it's like, and so it's like people take these wee things that are kind of half true, and then they basically turn it into something else.
There is no baby fetus in the vaccine. There is actually no baby fetus in it.
Exactly.
The baby fetuses were used to experiment back to make it. But yeah, man, it's a shame, and I hope that Ian Brown does just. I think he's such a legend that he can bounce back from it, but it's really damaging to his career just now. And
that's what happens when you smoke too much weed, man. Like, we all know. The thing is, we all know these guys. We all know these guys, like, who've basically smoked too much weed. Oh, mate, so was I. Like, you know, I mean, but like, that's what it does. I mean, like, the paranoia eventually becomes permanent. Do you know what I mean? And it's not just down to smoking too much weed, but I do believe in Ian Brown's case, it's a big part of it.
We got John McKinley saying, "Don't talk to Ian about those Jags for fuck's sake." Not the Jags, obviously. We've got Colette in the house. Hi, baby doll boys. Keep yourselves safe with all the emojis. Hello, Colette. I hope you're going to stay tuned in for the rest of today. We're going to go live at 5:30 for the Sonny Govins special. and then it's just going to keep going till probably midnight tonight. So it's a big show ahead. Also, coming up on the show, we've got the legendary Jason Williamson of Sleaford Mods is going to be on the show.
That's amazing, man. I can't wait for that.
I'm buzzing for it, man. I really am buzzing.
How are you getting all these big names, man? Like, all of a sudden you buy a decent webcam and you're getting all these fucking big names.
Well, we had a few big names before, but I think obviously the Smarmy, which is the Sleaford Mods kind of Facebook group, they've always been really supportive of the Gyro Babies. You know, I think
Brilliant.
we probably sold more vinyl there than we did in our own group.
That's great, man. That's what the internet should be about. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So I think there's always been that hope that, you know, we're on a similar, we're trying to tell a similar story in our own way, and I think it's just it's just a good match for what we do in this show. And shouts to Jennifer, who actually facilitated it eventually, and because I'd actually emailed the manager before, who's also Billy No Mate's manager, so I actually asked for Billy No Mate's in January, didn't hear anything back, and then she just got back to me.
She's class as well, man.
Oh, she's incredible, man. It's the best album of the year.
But I've heard Jason is a genuinely really, really nice guy. Like I know people who've kind of worked with him and stuff, but I've heard that he's just like, because I mean, with a guy that's that visceral as a lyricist and as a performer, you'd worry, is he going to be like kind of Marquis Smith, where he's just completely unapproachable, or is he going to actually be really decent? And fortunately, I've heard that it's the latter, and he's actually a really lovely guy.
Yeah, that's what I've heard too, you know, from mutual friends and stuff. So, yeah, man, I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be on Wednesday. Also, on Tuesday, we've got Iona Fife, which I'm excited about, and we've got at 5 o'clock on Tuesday, and then at 7 o'clock, we've got Clinker from London, which, for people that don't know, Clinker's a two-piece. And when we started back in the MySpace era, they were the first band to remix us, to just touching on that remix thing. And that was a massive thing for us, because we literally had a SingStar mic plugged into an old PC.
That's fucking brilliant.
And they were the first.
SingStar, fucking hell.
And we just had... They were one of the only people that actually, everyone just thought we were a joke. We were kind of semi having a laugh as well, but it was them that actually took the vocal and the acoustic guitar and made a full backing track to it. And it was really inspiring, so it's going to be good. And they looked after us when we went on our London tour as well. So shouts to Clinker, we'll be talking to them on Tuesday as well. Dougie Black says that Medicine Men and Better Waves gigs was quality.
He put it on.
Yes.
Yeah. He
put it
on, and do you know what? Fair play to him. He wasn't paying us a massive fee, but even still, I think he still would have lost money on it that night. But the thing is, what he did that night was so important, because the Beta Waves guys have become such good friends of mine, and luckily enough, I've been able to help them out with a few things. And had that gig not have happened, even though there was about 10 people there, had that gig not have happened, then, things would be so different. And, Beta Waves are actually playing the main stage at Playground Festival next year. So luckily enough, I was able to get their music to the right guy there. And I really hope it happens, man, because that's just going to be so amazing. It's the perfect festival for them. Do you know what I mean? It's just the perfect festival for them. So, yeah.
What a lineup for Playground, man.
Amazing.
Amazing.
Right, kudos to Dougie Black, man. Hope you're doing well, sir.
Shoutouts to Dougie. Our paths have crossed before as well when we were up in Dundee. I believe it was the Root System gig. Dougie, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was the Cundies.
The Cundies,
Root
man.
System and
what a
Root
name.
System and Gyro Babies, and that was a night that Mark McKinnon saying, "I've not slept for you," announced Jason from Sleaford Mods is coming on the show. I've not slept either, but I've just not had time to sleep. But that, yeah, man, Mark's been one of the people that kept on saying, "Get Jason on the show, get Jason on the show." I was like, what am I going to do? Annoy him on Twitter? But it's happening. It happened naturally. So it's
class,
good.
Man.
We're going to just sort of to wrap things up, man. I think we should just wrap up with another Medicine Men song. We're going to first of all give that charity single another shout out.
Nice one.
guys, as I told you, it's what give one more pitch to the single, and I'll put it in the comments.
So yeah, all proceeds go to the Partick Thistle Charitable Trust to help them carry on doing what they're doing over lockdown, which is delivering meals to vulnerable people. And after lockdown, they'll get back to doing their community work, their football programs to get people engaged in the community and get them active and stuff. So, my thing about these charities is that I worry that they'll be forgotten about once we all come out of lockdown, because we'll all be so, you'll all be so delighted to get back to the pub. But and I think it's important that these charities are allowed to get back to what they were doing so well before lockdown, and that was really the idea behind it as well, to not just raise some money for them, but raise some awareness about what they do as well.
Support the song here. I've put it in the comments.
Nice one, man. Thanks.
You can pay what you want, do what you can afford, and unfortunately, as always, it's up to the artist to try and put out these fires. We are trying to save Carrollton Studios. We're trying to save Sonny Govan.
I know, man.
There's just so much stuff going on, but this is what we do. Even though we're skint, we are trying to make this place better for people, and that is the job of the artist, because the politicians certainly don't give a fuck. Dougie says, yeah, that was a belter night too, Mark. It was indeed, man, and hopefully it's not too long before we have another one of those nights. Ian, what song should we finish on for Medicine Men?
I don't know, man. What about the new one, Bad Luck Burden? That just came out this week. The video just came out this week. It's another incredible video by Conor McCann of Baby Strange. I think he's really pushed the boat out in this one. You'll love it, man. It's green screen madness.
I like it, man. I haven't even heard it yet, so I'm excited to see it. So
I don't know what happened. Like, sometimes you put stuff out, and I don't know if it's the wrong time of day or something, but it doesn't seem to have got as much traction as the last couple of videos had.
That bloody algorithm.
I know, but the thing is, between this Tenants advert and the Thistle song, I've been hogging everyone's fucking timelines for weeks anyway, so maybe I had that coming.
Well, I'm the timeline hogger as well. Fuck, I'm sure about 90% of my timeline switched me off, because I'm just advertising 4 shows a day, but it's all you can do. It's all you can do.
Exactly.
Great to chat, Ian.
Thanks, mate. Thanks so much.
Go and support the single if you can, and we're going to end with Medicine Men here. I've got to go and do a sound check for Sonny Govan.
I'll be tuned in later on, man.
I'll put a link in the comments for people to set the reminders, or just wait in the queue outside the door of Sonny Govan's fundraiser, which will begin at 5:30. It's an incredible lineup, man, and it shows you how well thought of Sonny Govan is, because that's a top tier lineup, and it's all exclusive stuff coming up. So do check that out, guys. And this is Medicine Men, Bad Luck Burden. Nice one, Ian. Cheers.
Cheers, Mark. Top man.
It's a light touch of a healer and a band-aid for the pain that can keep your head in order and a smile for another day. With a film starring De Niro and a budget from LA, you can tell they know their angles when the cameras roll away. And we can try, look up, ask them where to sign up. Well, the bad luck is a burden, but the forecast doesn't change. And Mother Rain might be for certain, we can smile right through the days. And if you can't look out the window for a fear of what it brings, then I'll tell you in a riddle, and you know the phone will ring. Are you walking after nighttime? Are your feet touching the ledge? Are you tired of no response? taxes? Is the red line near the edge? Are your clothes in dusty boxes? Cause you won't unpack the pain. So you only wear your anger as you hide behind champagne. Well, the bad luck is a burden, but the forecast doesn't change. And while the rain might be for certain, we can smile right through the days. And if you can't look out the window for a fear of what it brings, then I'll tell you in a riddle, and you know the phone will ring. Well, the bad luck is a burden, but the forecast doesn't change. And while the rain might be for certain, we can smile right through the days. And if you can't look out the window for a fear of what it brings, then I'll tell you in a riddle, and you know the phone will ring. Well, the bad luck is a burden, but the forecast doesn't change. And while the rain might be for certain, we can smile right through the days. And if you can't look out the window for a fear of what it brings, then I'll tell you in a riddle, and you know the phone will ring.
Well, the bad luck is a burden, but the forecast doesn't change. And while the rain might be for certain, we can slow right through the days. And if you can't look out the window for a fear of what it brings, then I'll tell you in a riddle, and you know the phone will ring.
An American psychiatrist called it audio therapy.
You call that video?
Thank you very much to Ian Mack. We're going to go. I've got to go and do the sound check for Sonny Govan. Look at that lineup one last time. We'll be live from 5:30. I've put the link in the comments. Please join us at 5:30. Half an hour time for all that good stuff. Thank you very much, Ian, and take care. I'll see you in a bit.